All right, take one. Take it away, Mr. Bull.
Double-headed eagle for a Greek church down in Florida. This particular design points out a very interesting aesthetic and artistic component when you're dealing with a single color design. There's no way that you'd be able to determine where all the feathers were if we had to cut all the way through the material for each one of those pieces. It would be too small, too many pieces, a nightmare for our factory techs to assemble and for an installer to assemble out in the field. And you make one mistake, you drop one of those pieces, you've screwed the whole design up. So what we do is we score that. Jimmy, can you tell us what speed we're running at when we're scoring? Give us some idea how that works.
The speed is set at full speed, but we take the blast pressure and we turn it down a notch.
About how much?
We
The
go
blast pressure is typically what? About 55,000, something like that?
Yes, and so we'll turn it down roughly around low on 20,000.
Okay, that's a
We're also-
significant drop.
And we'll also set the cut depth from 2 to 3 inches down to 1 inch.
Gotcha. Okay. So what we're basically doing is we're quickly traveling over the surface of the piece to give the outlines of those different feather sections.
Correct.
And you can't tell the difference between a score line and a full depth joint line. Now, we can, but the typical person looking at this out in the field can't tell that. But that's what gives you all the beautiful design work. For instance, all the circles in the crown. This is a full piece right here, from here to here. These are all score lines in the center. It really gives a nice finishing touch to it.
So you're basically adding texture to the design
Exactly.
to mimic the feathers or the body of the animal.
You pair that with a neutral field color and a nice frame for the surround band.
Talk about the surround band a little bit, how that's typically done in the field with 4x8s
Well,
versus how we do it.
and we could do it here too. Jimmy, for instance, if we have if a customer that wants it, Jimmy would basically take the, let's say 4x8s, okay? Put them up in the soldier course configuration, which means it would be like this going around, but you have to pie cut each individual paver to make it fit tight so that you don't get what we refer to as a V-splay at the top, okay? That V space between two pavers when they're not cut. So in this particular case, we solved that problem by creating a surround band. And Jimmy, give us a little idea as to what the surround band, what are you cutting on the cutting deck to create the surround band? What's the size of the paver and what are you cutting out of that?
Are you referring to the black part? Or
Yep, the surround band, the black part.
So we take, in this case, charcoal 12x12, and we put them on the machine, and they would cut as many of these pieces out as possible.
But what do you, for this, what's that, about 1.5 inches to 2 inches? So how many pieces are you getting out of a 12x12?
Well, roughly, depending on how Brian puts it on the software on the machine, I'd say roughly between 8 and 10.
Okay. So basically what
Maybe
we're
12, 8 to 12.
So what you're getting is you're getting a series of cuts out of one paver as opposed to using one paver to create one portion of the design. So there's an economical factor involved with this too.
And there's no gapping because you're cutting all four sides.
Absolutely no gapping. The only thing that you're going to have is your typical joint line, which is going to get masked when it gets installed by the joint sand.
Now, as we look at, why don't we take a quick walk? As we look, we have this style, typically, that is a Paverart feature, this banding concept, is it not?
Yeah, I believe we're the only ones that actually do this kind of work. Very difficult to cut that type of banding in the field. That's why full-size pavers have to be pie cut in the field to create not a similar look, but let's call it a frame around the outside of the piece. Our frame, we can do it that way with a soldier course paver, with a soldier course series of pavers, that are all pie cut, or we can create the surround band, which in my opinion is a much cleaner look, much classier, much more formal look.
So surround bands and scoring.
Surround bands and scoring, correct.
Two simple paper art concepts.
That's right.
All right.